The worst. Disinfect. Disinfect. The worst. Airing out music's worst songs. Airing out music's worst songs.
Madonna. Hello and welcome to Disinfect, the podcast where we air out the worst songs ever recorded. Developed and co-hosted by me, Matt Deal, and co-creator, host at large, and all-around music obsessive, Morris Bernstein. Today we are disinfecting Madonna's cover of American Pie by Don McLean. If that doesn't scare you, nothing will. And by the way, Madonna's version of American Pie was voted the worst cover song ever.
What did Enemy called it? Sub karaoke fluff.
Sub karaoke fluff. Yep, you got.
It's a blessing she didn't bother recording the whole thing. Chuck Taylor from Billboard.
The song was actually voted by The Spectator.
Again, The Spectator.
Well, it's the same. It was the same poll where Love Will Tear Us Apart came in number 2.
I just thought now The Spectator, all it does is it talks about bad cover songs.
This came in as the worst cover song. Yeah. It said, "The old trout wins another prize. Never has she deserved one more." Now that's a bit harsh. I think that's a bit harsh.
I think calling her a trout is actually quite kind.
I mean, Madonna's a serious cultural figure. I give her credit.
I mean, look, listen, like, kudos to her. She's certainly one of the smartest people in show business, male or female. So total kudos to her.
What's interesting about this song in particular is that it was coming at an absolute high point in Madonna's career. Oh my God. So to sort of put Madonna covering American Pie in context, if you look at it now, American Pie is sort of a kind of embarrassing boomer Rosetta Stone.
It's Don't Stop Believing in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone knows how to sing it. They just don't know all the verses.
Well, neither does Madonna.
Right.
She left him out.
Yeah.
But, so it's a very famous song, and it captures this sort of generational malaise. It's about the day Buddy Holly died.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also ties into like Charles Manson, Altamont, the JFK assassination. And it does so in a way that's very ambitious, but of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, Don McLean, he was sort of the tail end of what are known as the New Dylans,
mm-hmm.
I guess. So if so imagine if every white guy with an acoustic guitar like pushed himself to his artistic and poetic limits. I mean, that's, this was what was happening. And not every white guy with an acoustic guitar is Bob Dylan. Those limits are not pretty. And the New Dylans, when they failed because they couldn't let go of the sentimental or the obvious. That was the thing that Dylan rejected. You know what I mean? And so they were trying to be poetic and huge. And in fact, they were being kind of cliched. And so like this song has cliches Dylan would never touch. Good Old Boys, I mean.
Drive the Chevy to the levee.
Yeah, which is actually kind of an amazing syncopated lyric.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to stop you for a second because you've left out two very important people who the song is about as well. It's not just about Buddy Holly. Yeah. It's about Ritchie Valens.
Yes, of course.
And the Big Bopper.
Who died along with Billie Holly.
Buddy
Holly.
I think that, because they were and that's why the day the music died, because those were probably three of the most important artists
in the history of rock and roll.
In rock and roll, which was just being born at the time. So to lose three, that it makes sense that he's saying the day the music died.
Yeah, and he literally, I think he was affected by it and wrote it from his feelings, which is kind of, that's sincere. So it's hard to say if American Pie is a good song or not. it's I would say it's somewhere between a good song and a bad song. It's very memorable, but if you break it down, it's probably a bad song.
But I'd say it's a good song. The fact it stood the test of time. Well, it's got to be 50 years old now, that song.
It is 38 years old.
It's only
48.
48, so it's almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. Everybody can sing the chorus. I think that makes a good song.
And I also think Madonna was sort of trying to connect the sort of the generational malaise of American Pie with the sort of the Y4K sort of generational malaise. It was the year 2000. Nobody knew what was going to happen next. It was apocalyptic in the...
I think you're going a bit too deep. I think it was
I'm a music critic. Okay?
Very bad decision by an A&R man sitting in a room with a big pile of cocaine in front of him, and I got a great idea.
Well, the other thing too, though, the really the best thing about the original is that it's genuinely strange. It's all over the place.
It's a very unique song. There aren't too many. I mean, how many verses are there in that song?
I think there's 7 verses. Yeah. And how many tempo changes and how many time signature changes and how many narrator points of view changes are there? I mean, it's so eccentric.
With a pink carnation and a pickup truck.
It's actually
But I knew that I was out of luck.
Yeah. We talked about Dylan. It also reminds me of like those like epic Simon and Garfunkel songs. And it predates or sort of lands in the sort of kind of apocalyptic surrealism of Hotel California. And what's interesting is literally, I think around the same year that American Pie came out, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey by Bruce Springsteen came out. And what's interesting about the early Bruce Springsteen, he also has these crazy song structures that go all over the place. Blinded by the Light. For You. It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City. Spirit in the Night.
That's my favorite Bruce Springsteen albums, one. Or E Street Shuffle.
No, that was the first one. Greetings.
Okay, so E Street Shuffle was the second one, right? Yeah. Those 2 albums I like. After that, I'm sorry. It's bloody hell.
Another topic for another time.
Another topic.
But again, what I'm saying is Don McLean was sort of actually being very musically contemporary.
Bruce Springsteen fans, I know I've offended everybody now. But
anyway, in other words, Bruce Springsteen was a new Dylan.
Yes, well, that's how that was the big mistake that Columbia did. That they said the new Bob Dylan. I mean, how to set an artist up for failure. Tell them that the second coming of Christ is here, and everyone's going to bat it down.
Well, so the thing about this song is she's covering one of the most iconic songs of the 70s.
Yes,
in the year 2000.
Yeah,
and you have to ask yourself.
One of the longest songs of the 70s as well, I would say.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus Christ, that's a radio song, right?
Yeah.
How long is
8.5 minutes.
8.5 minutes.
The original, Don McLean's original American Pie is 8.5 minutes. And he insisted that they play the full 8.5 minutes on the radio. He would not release it as the single had 2 sides.
Right.
Actually, he would not. The only place that it actually had an edit was Australia. And I think that pissed him off.
Let's hear the track. Let's hear the.
Let's actually listen to the original.
Remember how that music used to make me smile, and I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step.
That was bad.
I can't remember.
I mean, that's unsingable.
When I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died. So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Did you write the book of love? And do you have faith in God above? If the Bible tells you so. Now, do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? Well, I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes. Man, I dig those rhythm and blues. I was a lonely teenage bronc and buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck. But I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. I started singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone. But that's not how it used to be. When the jester sang for the king and queen in a coat he borrowed from James Dean, and a voice that came from you and me. Oh, and while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned. No verdict was returned. And while Lennon read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park, and we sang dirges in the dark the day the music died. We were singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Helter skelter in the summer swelter, the birds flew off with a fallout shelter. 8 miles high and falling fast. It landed foul on the grass. The players tried for a forward pass, with the jester on the sidelines in a cast. Now the halftime air was sweet perfume while the sergeants played a marching tune. We all got up to dance, oh, but we never got the chance, 'cause the players tried to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died? We started singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Oh, and there we were all in one place, a generation lost in space, with no time left to start again. So come on, Jack, be nimble, Jack, be quick. Jack Flash sat on a candlestick, 'cause fire is the devil's only friend. Oh, and as I watched him on the stage, my hands were clenched in fists of rage. No angel born in hell could break that Satan's spell. And as the flames climbed high into the night to light the sacrificial rite, I saw Satan laughing with delight the day the music died. He was singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. I went down to the sacred store where I'd heard the music years before, but the man there said the music wouldn't play. And in the streets the children screamed, the lovers cried and the poets dreamed, but not a word was spoken. The church bells all were broken. And the three men I admire most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, they caught the last train for the coast the day the music died. And they were singing, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. They were singing, bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey.
Miss American Pie is it's a brilliantly written song. Lyrics are incredible.
Madonna's whole thing, well, Madonna has sort of two angles, I think. She's bringing
She has two angles.
Two angles. Well, maybe she has a few more angles.
Yeah.
No, but the two sort of major threads with Madonna, I think, are, number one, she brings underground music to the mainstream.
She brought...
From her first single.
Yes. She brought.
Yeah.
I didn't say she brings any more, though.
Well, she tries. She works with the top dance music producers. And,
yeah. Oh, over the years, absolutely. Yeah. From Mark Kamen's Jelly Bean Benitez to William Orbit to, what's his name, Jacques Leconte. Jacques Leconte. Yeah.
Mirwais. I'm sure she has a Daft Punk in there. Massive Attack she's worked with.
Well, that was, they did a cover of I Want You by Marvin Gaye for the Red Hot and something or other.
She succeeds often in communicating sort of street styles, subcultural things. And then I think the other thing that she does is she just swings for the rafters. She just goes big. If she makes a mistake, it's big. If she makes a success, it's huge, So she'll try almost anything and put her mark on it. And like I said, when it works, it's great. When it fails,
anything Madonna does is going to get attention. So it's and she takes chances. And this song was a chance. Jesus,
it was a weird choice, and then they stuffed it with every cliche possible to make it banal.
Do we know why they even covered this? Why did they want to cover this song?
Let's go do a bunch of cocaine and listen to
American Pie.
A long, long time ago, I can still...
God, what a terribly cheesy opening.
That music used to make me smile. And I knew that if I had my chance, I could make those...
Lounge Madonna.
And maybe they'd be...
That piano is just...
For a while.
Cheeseball City. Absolutely horrible, fake rave, cliche smorgasbord. It's like every rave music cliche of the 90s in one piece of music. And then it goes into, oh God, what's that song from Austin Powers?
Now do you believe in rock and roll? And can music save your mortal soul? And can it teach me how to dance real slow?
Real slow.
I know that you're in love with him.
Horribly awkward line reading.
Dancing in the gym, you both kicked off your shoes. Man, I dig love.
absolutely atrocious backing vocals.
I was a lonely teenage drunken buck with a reincarnation and a pickup truck, but I knew that I was out of luck the day the music died. I started singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. Well,
That is bad.
went down to the sacred store where I'd heard the music years before, but the man there said the music wouldn't play.
That is one of the most awkward line readings in all of popular music, I think.
Children screamed, the lovers cried, and the
I don't want to hear Madonna say, the children screamed. It's not something that I'm just waiting to hear out of Madonna's mouth.
all were broken, and the free
Oh.
men I admire the most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. They
At least she's a little sacrilegious in this song in Madonna style.
the music died. We started singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die.
All right, ready to go bad? Like David Letterman.
American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. We started singing. We started singing. We started singing. We started singing.
Hold on. That is truly awful. So, this is how big the worst cover song of all time is. It reached #1 in the United Kingdom, Australia, Iceland, Italy.
Iceland.
Iceland, a huge population. Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and Finland. And it was the 19th best-selling single of 2000 in the UK, 9th best in Sweden. And it reached the top 30 just barely in America, which usually Europe has the edge on taste, but I guess
Right.
in that instance. What's really fun about this song and investigating it is all the bad decisions that led to it happening. Okay, so American Pie, the Madonna cover, comes off of the soundtrack of The Next Big Thing, Next Best Thing. Okay, who here has seen The Next Best Thing?
Not I.
Anyone?
Not
Anyone
I.
in the audience? I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Next Best Thing is a absolutely terrible romantic comedy. I think I did see it once.
With Rupert Everett.
It's Rupert Everett and Madonna and Benjamin Bratt.
God.
Madonna plays Madonna, or Madonna plays a cool urban woman, and she decides she wants a baby. And who's she going to have her baby with but her gay BFF, played by Rupert Everett.
Oh, I remember this.
Right?
I didn't see it, but I remember, yeah.
And then she's with Benjamin Bratt as her heterosexual boyfriend, and she wants the baby back, and she has to then get into a terrible legal fight with her gay BFF who fathered her child. It was also the last film directed by John Schlesinger,
Wow.
who's a great director.
Great director.
Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Falcon and the Snowman.
I love that movie.
And, of course, Midnight Cowboy.
Midnight Cowboy, yeah. So
Another British director, John Schlesinger.
Yes, exactly. Britain is culpable in many of the worst cover songs, clearly. So let me tell you. So
I don't think it was John Schlesinger's idea to it, because it was released on Maverick Records, right?
Yeah.
Definitely an A&R guy.
Well, wait. Yeah. So we're getting there. So Roger Ebert gave the film 1 star. He said, the next best thing is a garage sale of gay issues harnessed to a plot as exhausted as a junkman's horse. It received a 19% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. That's
very bad. And Madonna won a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actress. And then it was nominated for Worst Director.
Wow.
Worst Picture, which it lost to Battlefield Earth.
No, I don't.
John Travolta Scientology movie.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah.
Didn't
see that either.
Worst Screenplay.
Okay.
Also lost to Battlefield Earth.
Wow.
And Worst Screen Couple. Madonna and Rupert
also
Everett.
Lost to Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, they couldn't decide if Madonna or Rupert Everett or Benjamin Bratt was the worst. And so naturally, it being a Madonna movie, you have to have a tie-in soundtrack.
Yes, of course.
And
brilliant.
Yes,
we're going to do a soundtrack,
and we're going to get 2 Madonna songs on the soundtrack. Fast.
Yeah,
we need it fast. Now, by the way, a recurring theme with Madonna: when she fails, she fails. So this is a terrible movie. It opened at number 2.
Yeah.
And American Pie, terrible song, massive hit.
Right.
So, the correlation of quality and popularity, sometimes if it sells, it does smell.
Yeah.
Apparently Madonna, she was the executive producer of the soundtrack and handpicked all the tracks that appeared. The Irish, I think it was the Irish Times. Was it the Irish Times that said this? They said, it takes a special level of hubris to assume that what the world needs is for you to release an updated version of one of the most celebrated tracks of all time. And while Madonna can hardly be accused of hiding her light behind an age-appropriate bushel, it was still a shock when she hacked through American Pie, half singing the track, adding a William Orbit beat, and removing all but the 2nd and 6th verses, opening the track with half of the first, as if to signal that, yep, this is what really is happening here. The day that music died, indeed. So the blame for this song can be put on Rupert Everett.
Why is that?
It was
Rupert Everett did backing vocals. He sings on the song.
So okay, and which is bad enough. Well, no, okay. Rupert Everett convinced Madonna to sing this song. So he, as an A&R man, he's a fantastic, compelling screen personality.
Mm-hmm.
As a backup singer, he's a fantastic screen personality. Don't take your A&R tips from your co-star.
Correct. What else was on the album, though? I didn't buy this record, by the way.
It came in the mail.
Yeah.
Oh, there was some Moby. There was some Beth Orton. Christina Aguilera. Groove Armada.
So it's a pretty hip soundtrack for 2000. Groove Armada, Beth Orton, Moby.
It was trying to be
yeah.
really sort of state-of-the-art electronica.
Right.
And then, of course, Christina Aguilera had a couple of Madonna songs to, as insurance policy. Madonna swinging for the rafters. Like, she put out that sex book. A disaster. A fascinating disaster.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is just a little less fascinating. So, yeah. So she basically hacked out 4 verses, I think. How many songs?
Yeah, but you know what? Would you have wanted her to have done all 8? I mean, it was like you want it to end. So all 8, I don't think I would have been able to have even taken. I mean, I think.
But then you shouldn't do it in the first place.
Right. The death rate, the mortality of the rate would have gone up globally if 8 verses of Miss America, Bye Bye Miss America,
but the problem,
Madonna would have come out.
I mean, the problem is that also it's like, so again, something that sort of started, I think, around 2000. I mean, it started earlier, but 2000 was sort of the Baroque apogee of the big room, cheesy, nostalgic cover.
Yeah.
Of a big room dance club.
Yeah.
Cover song, and this is sort of the high class version.
Yeah.
It's got Spike Stent mixing it. It's got William Orbit producing. And it's got Rupert Everett on background vocals.
Well, the Rupert Everett thing, I mean, how they got him to do that, I don't know.
You know,
I mean, that was
but I mean, and again, like think of the bad decisions here. Like, I've got it. You're going to cover American Pie. I'll be in the studio. I'll produce it with you, and I will sing it with you. So I'm going to break it down. Here we go. So when the song begins, you know you're in trouble. You've got that like lounge piano.
Yeah.
And she's intoning over it with the terrible reverb. And then when the music kicks in, I remember being shocked by it then, and I remember being shocked revisiting it. It's literally that first big kick. It's every rave music cliche simultaneously at once.
Yeah.
And not only is it rave music cliches of the era, but it's like rave music cliches from like 1989. Like it sounds like Sesame's Treat to me. You know what I mean? Sesame's Treat, by the way, is a rave cover of the Sesame Street theme, which, believe me, that's going to show up in a Disinfect episode, you know, in the future. But literally, there was this moment in rave music where they had these, they take these like children's TV melodies and put them to a beat. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and people bought them, and they sound fucking terrible. They're some of the most annoying tracks.
But if you were at a rave, they probably sounded great, though. I mean, that's the thing. It's just afterwards, when you buy it, you take it home, you realize how bad it was.
Well, I mean, but one Sesame's Treat is enough. There were like 4. There was Travel to Trumptown. Which traveled to Trumpton. Trumpton. Yeah. Well, Trumpton was a British.
Yeah, Brew to Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Diddle Drub. That was the British TV show.
So what's
fantastic?
Right.
If you don't know it, Google it. Awesome stuff. Nothing to do with your presidents.
Yeah, no Trump. It's Trumpton.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's annoying about that to me, that the Cod rave moment, was she made some pretty great electronic music records with William Orbit, and now she's making this like not trying at all electronic, you know, like, and then when the beat comes in, no tension. When she's, you know, that when the verse comes in, it's like, you're like, what? I mean, and dance music is all about like those moments, and it's just like you're just sliding into this, like no impact. I mean, it's really bad. If you're ever in a recording session and someone says the words ear candy, you're in trouble. You're done. The song is terrible. And what that means is they're going to add ear candy to your song, which means they're going to fluff it up.
They're trying to put lipstick on a pig, babe.
Lipstick on a pig. And so, like, if you listen to this song,
there's a lot of lipstick.
And it's quite a big pig to cover. I mean, like you have like the cheesy little bells, church bells, pretty much every sort of cheesy metaphor.
William, put the kitchen sink in this one.
Yeah.
We need to fix it.
Every image, every cliched image in the original is made literal in this version. It's really bad. Let's talk about the vocal performance on this song. Now again, there's a thing, and Madonna actually talked about this. She didn't want to do the song. She had to be talked into it.
By Rupert Everett.
And also someone at the record company.
Yeah.
There's a thing when artists are told to do something, or like, you need to do this is a good idea, and they resist it, you can hear it in their performance.
Right.
Like they kind of, they in other words, they do it so, like Harrison Ford in Blade Runner. Originally, it had a voiceover,
right? And
he hated the voiceover, so he thought, okay, I'm going to do it as badly as possible,
right?
And they won't use it,
right?
And Madonna's vocal on this is like that.
Are you sure about that? Because Madonna doing something that she doesn't want to do, and it's her record company. She's the boss of that company. How?
Wait, you're a boss of a company. You don't make bad decisions occasionally?
No, make bad. But you're saying that she didn't want to do the song.
She had to be talked into it. And then she had to be talked into releasing it.
Right, but that's interesting.
You think that's revisionist history?
I think so, because it was her record company.
Well, and also, to be honest, I grew up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I'm about 10 years younger than Madonna. So
I think you're a lot.
No.
She's
10 years older than me exactly. 100%.
Really?
I know I dated someone that went to college with her.
I dated Madonna.
Yes.
I still think she's lying about her age, to be honest with you.
No.
You got her birth certificate?
I know someone who went to college with her.
Right.
I kissed that person. So,
okay.
So
interesting.
No, but again, it's like with Madonna.
So you're like 1 degree away from kissing Madonna. The fact that you kissed somebody who went to college with her. Was she a friend of Madonna's at college, or she just was at the same college?
She knew of Madonna.
She knew of Madonna.
Madonna was, I think, a bohemian.
This sounds
legend.
very like she
Shady?
knew of her. She was at the same college as Madonna. That's like saying I lived in the same country as. Okay, go on. Yeah. So I know, therefore, you know.
So, but the reason I say that is being a guy from the Midwest and being from that era,
and somebody who you dated or kissed who was in the same vicinity as Madonna at some point. Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to do a blog. We're going to do a podcast about everyone you've kissed on the grounds of Manchester United.
You don't kiss people at that ground.
You punch them.
Yes, exactly.
I understand when she was, I guess I was 7 when this, or no, 4 when the song came out. She was 14. She was probably pretty susceptible to, this is an iconic song from her childhood. Big
song.
For her to say like
tune, as they say,
tune, CHOON is the proper British spelling. It's an iconic song from an American childhood.
A big song in England.
Yeah,
huge.
I mean, to say like Rupert Everett suggested it, she knew the song inside and out,
as Rupert did. Rupert's English.
And then again, the other thing too, the original is so weird that you realize when trying to cover it. It resists a 4/4 beat. Yeah, which it's so many different meters and all dance music with you
need a beat behind it. Yeah.
You need a solid And then the other thing is once you try to sort of reduce it to like a 4/4 thing, you actually realize like some of these lines are unsingable,
right?
Other than by Don McLean, like well, I know that you're in love with him because I saw
you dancing in the gym. Yes,
I mean that is. Who can sing that authoritative? And by the way, do you want to hear Madonna say, now, do you believe in rock and roll?
Yeah. We both kicked off our shoes. Man, I dig those rhythm and blues.
Now, okay. Man, I dig those rhythm and blues. Now, this is one of the great sins. This is a sin that actually this was a sin performed by Don McLean. Okay. White people singing about like the greatness of old blues and soul music is really like Walking in Memphis. I can't think of any good examples of that. And so like talking about when I saw Jackie, when I saw James Brown, there's a sort of nostalgic sort of American group, and I'm drawing a blank, but like that line, man, I dig those rhythm and blues, like that, like if you're not a blues singer, you can't sing that line.
I was a lonely teenage
bronking buck
with a pink carnation and a pickup truck.
Now what I like when you bring that up, is that the entree of the terrible? No,
but I knew I was out of luck.
But I knew
the day the music died.
You are a new Dylan. Okay, the death blow to this song is Rupert Everett's backup singing. It's bad enough that he chose the song.
Yeah, but the fact he's on it.
So I remember listening to it and thinking, oh my God, those backing vocals are horrible. And then I found out it's Rupert Everett. Whose idea? Who thought it was a good idea?
The person who thought it was a good idea to do the song.
Every time he's in there, it takes me out of the song.
Right.
Completely.
Has he done any other songs before or since, or was that the pinnacle of his musical career?
Truthfully, I have no freaking idea. Because
I don't recall any Rupert Everett albums.
Yeah. Like I said, as an A&R guy, he's a great
and let's get
B+ movie star.
Exactly.
The other thing that's really annoying about this song to me is, again, it's that like, well, it worked before. Oh, it was a big song. We'll cover it. Literally, when it goes into the verse, it's going into Beautiful Stranger by Madonna.
Right.
It's like, it's trying to remind you of another hit from another soundtrack.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else is but the levee, the way she says, but the levee was dry.
Yes.
The way she says dry, it's like she's never said the word before. It's like an English language.
Is this when Madonna was starting to talk with an English accent, or was she I mean, or was this?
I think she was with Guy Ritchie.
Right. So she was now talking with an English accent. So
I think it was creeping in here and there, and that. But I also think too.
So I think that's why she had a problem with the word dry, because she now had a different elocution. And pronunciation's dry.
Yes. Well, but also too, I think it was sort of an inverse, like jazzing. In other words, when an artist covers a song, they want to put their own spin on it.
Yes.
And so they will play with the melody.
Yep.
And I think that was her sort of trying to make the melody a little edgy, and it just flattens the melody. So anyway, so it's a cover of American Pie, but somehow we're in Beautiful Stranger. Then this and we're in every rave cliche up to that point.
Yep.
Playing simultaneously. And then there's this twangy Dwayne Eddy guitar.
Well, that's going back to the music dying.
Yes.
Sort of the Ritchie Valens.
But even that song did not have such shameless...
No.
You know. Oh, and then again, it has... You remember I talked about white people singing about how they love the blues?
Yeah.
I met a girl who sang the blues.
Yeah.
I asked her for some happy news.
Yeah.
But she just smiled and turned away.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
That is an egregious trio of lines. Madonna... No one, Aretha Franklin couldn't do shit with those lines. I mean,
I know Aretha Franklin could sing the phone book, and it was fantastic.
True.
Or could have sung the phone book and sounded fantastic.
Oh, and then also Rupert Everett. He really, really asserts himself in that last verse. They do this call and response.
Oh God!
And it's both the worst part of the original and it's the worst part of this, which is. Well, now in the street, the children scream. The children scream. I mean, you don't want to hear it. You don't what? And then...
Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. Is that?
Yeah. There's something really annoying about Madonna.
I can't remember if I cried when I heard about his widow bride. You know, something touched me deep inside.
It's not Tupac.
The day the music died.
Yeah.
It is very poetic, I've got to say. I mean... Kudos.
The original is its own thing. The very last, The Day the Music Died, is Rupert Everett's worst backing vocal. It really, and then it's married to these squelchy, incongruous rave synths. It's very solemn. The day the music died, and then squelch, womp, womp, womp. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. And then at one point, there's literally counting the rave cliches. So Paul Young had many Joe Cockers. Pat Travers had many inadvertent Gary Newmans. This is just pylon. So there's the rising siren, and this is at the end of the song. There's there's an acid line, an acid synthesizer. There's that sort of orbital circular synth figure, this, and you're like, okay, it's the year 2000. Why are these rave tricks from 1992?
Well, they were throwing everything at trying to save the song at that point. It was like, that doesn't work. Let's try, 1992 rave. And it's just, no, that doesn't work. Let's try this. It's just so... And then just leave it all in. Maybe that'll just...
We'll just do it all.
Yeah.
I'll just get rid of all these old hard drives. We'll just run them all at what... So then I found another characteristic of bad cover songs and bad songs in general. Bizarre, non-end anticlimax.
Mm-hmm.
So this song, it literally ends with, we started singing.
Well, they'd given up at that point.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't do all 8 verses, because they were just like, look, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Yeah. just how do we exit this gracefully? It's going to have to be on the album. So, but we need to stop now.
Yeah.
So,
it's like Bohemian Rhapsody. You don't want to hear the Big Room House music version by Madonna or otherwise. You don't want to hear River Deep Mountain High, the Big Room dance music version. I think these are uncoverable songs.
Right. No, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, the dance
I'm sure that
version?
it exists out there.
Oh my God.
I know. And then again, it's this other thing. It's like you cover an imperfect song already. You're gonna only increase the imperfections.
Yes, agreed.
Oh, and I'm trying to think too. There's Paul Van Dyke. There's other terrible rave sounds of that era. You know, the big room. Like, who were some of the big room names of that time?
Well, it was, Paul Van Dyke, Tiesto.
Paul Oakenfold, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is good about this song?
That it ends.
Well, I would say this. The video was actually kind of cool.
I never saw the video.
The video actually was Madonna. She was showing both heteronormative and non-heteronormative people kissing.
Okay.
And sort of rubbing that in people's faces in a great way.
Yep.
And I think this is one of, so bad song, but the video did achieve something socially. And I think this is something that's sort of underrated. Maybe Madonna has helped change attitudes towards, so many societal mores. And so I think that's the only good thing about the song.
Yeah.
Is that,
Fair enough.
Now, the internet was kind of funny about this song. It was voted, like I said, the worst cover version of all time.
By The Spectator.
Yes. The NME called it sub-karaoke fluff. And it's a blessing she didn't recover. It's a blessing she didn't bother recording the whole thing.
Yep, agreed.
The big test, I think, for a cover version is what does the original artist think of the cover version?
Yeah.
So what do you think Don McLean thought of American Pie?
He probably liked it because he knew that he was going to get big royalty checks coming out of it. So I'm sure he liked it. And
Morris is correct. It's a gift for her to have recorded American Pie, McLean said.
Because he got more money from it. That's why it's a gift.
I think it is sensual and mystical. I also feel that she's chosen autobiographical verses that reflect her career and personal history. I received many gifts from God, but this is the first time I've ever received a gift from a goddess.
Oh my God. He's brown-nosing.
You know what we call that in the old country?
What's that?
Pure and utter horseshit.
Yeah, definitely. But at the end of the day, definitely helped with his royalty checks, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, but okay, no, this is what's funny. Okay, it's all funny. But Madonna, in the end, beautifully, was in on the joke. So, in 2001, she realized that she had gone completely insane. And she was being interviewed on the BBC by Joe Wiley.
Joe Wiley.
Yep. And she admitted on camera to regretting doing American Pie. And she said the only reason she did it was, quote, a certain record company exec twisted her arm into doing it.
Mm-hmm. And who was that certain record company exec?
I think I know, but I'm not going to say.
Guy Oseary?
I didn't say that. As Steve Coogan once said, it's for me to think and for you to say. Now, Madonna made it very clear how she felt about this song. And the way you know how Madonna feels about a song is when it goes to number 1 in 40 countries, and she leaves it off her greatest hits album.
Right.
So her second greatest hits album, she left it off. Now, oversight? No. Madonna was asked why she left American Pie off. And she said, my gut told me not to do it, but I did it, and then I regretted it. So just for that reason, it doesn't deserve a place on my greatest hits album. And she said she wanted to actually punish the song.
Listen, respect to her for not putting on the greatest hits record.
But we were all punished in advance.
Yes, but
you know, you can say you're sorry for the Iraq War,
right?
And then,
right, but she did it in the first place. You know,
we make our choices.
Right. Yeah, you made your bed, you better lie in it.
And that bed happened to be the worst cover song
of all time,
as determined
by The Spectator,
by a major UK newspaper in a very scientific poll
magazine.
Yes. So that is the end.
We've come out with some absolute useless information that I hope will be useful to you.
Yes.
but they were stinkers. They really were stinkers.
Yes. They needed to be aired out.
Yeah.
And we did it.
Definitely.
All right.
Well done.
Well, I hope the stench goes away.
Yeah, the studio is smelling better now, I've got to say,
yes.
after, airing those out. Yeah.
Well, cheers to you.
Yeah.
So let's let's go celebrate. We'll see you then.
Bye.
And by the way, in the next episode, we will be talking directly to William Orbit, who, as we mentioned, is the co-creator and co-producer of Madonna's American Pie cover. So we hope you'll check out that episode, and until then, good night.
Disinfect was created by Morris Bernstein and Matt Deal. Produced by Sean Lewis and Esther Yoon. Theme music by Jeremy Clark, aka Mr. 66. Artwork by Bill McMullen, aka Billions Make Millions. If you want to tell us how much you love or hate Disinfect, or wish to purchase an extremely overpriced commemorative mug, oven mitt, or t-shirt, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and disinfectpodcast.com. You can also contact us at info@disinfectpodcast.com. Please like, subscribe, donate, all that shit. Thank you, and see you next episode to disinfect more of music's worst songs. Wherever fine podcasts are shilled. Copyright Giant Step 2020, and whatever other necessary boilerplate legal mumbo jumbo blah 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 you hear at the end of your favorite podcasts.